Hello everyone, welcome back to the forge. Now today we're going to jump in on a file harpoon point Bowie build. A couple things right out of the box. This file has already been put in the forge, heated up, and allowed to slowly cool down so it's nice and soft. I got a paper template here we're going to be using to cut this knife out. I got our mild steel here, and I've got our piece of antler we're going to be using for our handle. I've already drilled out the center portion. And so let's go ahead and get our blade laid out, get it cut out, and get to work. Alright, got our shoulders cleaned up here, got our tang cleaned up, perimeter's all cleaned up. You can already kind of tell we're getting that look that we want. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some blue dicum on the edge here and on the clip and go ahead and get it scribed out, get the bevels roughed in, and then we'll be ready to move on to heat treat. Alright, everything is roughed in. So I'm going to go fire up the forge. We'll thermal cycle this a few times and then we'll quench it. Alright, everything came through the quench grate. I've already got some lines drawn on here to go ahead and get this finished ground ready for hand sanding. I'm going to jump on the grinder, get that wrapped up, and we'll go ahead and we'll start addressing the guard situation. Alright, so here we are right off the grinder. We're currently, I went up to 220 and then hit it with a Scotch-Brite belt. So it's got a decent finish right off the grinder. I do need to come in here and grind this little section right here out. Get that cleaned up. And then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, we got our area there cleaned up. Now a lot of times whenever I do these, I don't like this section here to be this wide. I like it to be narrower if possible. I just think it looks better. I mean, this don't look bad. And what dictates this right here to me is the width of our antler right there. If I grind this narrower, then I've got to grind into this antler, and there's not a lot of antler to grind into, plus it removes a lot of the character. So I like to try to keep it as intact as I can. And I think once the guard and stuff's on here, I think this will look pretty good. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to hand sanding this. I'll take care of that. And next thing you see here on the video, we'll be starting on the guard with the finished hand sanded blade. Alright, I'm going to move on to the guard now. Alrighty. I've got 2 lines scribed on there. I'll lay the tang of the knife on here, mark out the width of the tang, we'll drill 2 holes, mill it out. Alright, I got our guard milled out. It's fit up. I've got her all thread welded on. It may look a little thin here, but it is quite wide. Plenty strong enough. This antler will be filled with epoxy once it's fitted up. And then our pommel here will screw on, cinch down, and then I will pin over the threads here on the end just for that extra little bit of security there. So it will be nice and solid upon completion. So the next thing we're going to do is move on to drilling out our piece of steel for the pommel here, and then we'll tap and thread it, and then we'll be ready to fit it all up, get it snug down where it needs to be, lay out our lines for the guard and the pommel, get them ground to shape, then we'll basically be finished. I'm going to do the same thing now I did with the guard, and let's just scrap some lines, some reference lines on here before we drill out the hole, the thread. Alright, we got everything good and tight. Now it's time to start shaping the pommel and the guard. And then we'll do the texturing on top here, the file around it. Once everything's shaped and cleaned up, we'll pin this over on the bottom. There we are. Alright, we got everything wrapped up. I got the handle buffed up, got it nice and shiny. I got some texture put on my guard piece here and the pommel piece. All that's left for me to do is cut the threads off to the proper length so I can pin them over when I put the cap on the end. And the cap is threaded, so this will be threaded on, tightened down, and then pinned. There will also be epoxy put inside. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get this glued up, and we'll see what it looks like finished up. Catch you in a minute. There's how she turned out. I appreciate you for watching. If you would, hit that sub button down below, ring the notification bell, notified of my newest content as it posts. If you have any questions about this build, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all of them. Like I said, I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.